What is going on, my Houston Texans family? Hope you all are having a blessed Wednesday. The weather outside is beautiful. Let's have a conversation because you knew this was going to happen after that fourth quarter. Mills Mafia, it's back up. It's loud again. And these conversations have been being had on Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything Houston Texans related. You see some comments say, the Houston Texans should roll with Davis Mills going forward this season. Absolutely crazy that we are having these type of conversations, but I honestly want to hear from you guys, and I already know how some of you guys are going to respond to this question, but I want to know your confidence in number 10 Davis Mills going forward as your starting quarterback, and your confidence in number 7 CJ Stroud going forward as your starting quarterback. Now, before we get into these conversations, this episode is brought to you and powered by Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is now with players like CJ Stroud, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to a 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. Use promo code 713HOU, and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Sleeper is also giving you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. Just type in 713HOU. I still can't believe we are having this conversation. But after that fourth quarter, there's a lot of prisoners in the moment, which is fine, right? The moment was so damn amazing. I still can't believe that the Houston Texans pulled it off. With that being said, this game for the Tennessee Titans, it's big for you. If you want to get to the postseason, if you want to try to get to places where you've never gone before, and we had this conversation yesterday that the Houston Texans playoff hopes are alive and well. And when you look at the next two games, Tennessee and Buffalo, you feel like you could potentially win these next two matchups. However, the question, who is going to be the starting quarterback this Sunday against Tennessee? Now, as of right now, practice has still not happened. So I have no update in terms of CJ Stroud being out there. I don't think there has been an update in regards to how far he is in concussion protocol. I think Titus Howard is a little bit further than him because Titus Howard was at the game. I think it was Landry Locker who said that CJ Stroud, was at the stadium. So we'll see how it plays out today at practice. But right now, I'm going with Davis Mills as my starting quarterback against the Tennessee Titans. On a scale to 1 to 10, my confidence is at a 3 or a 4 against Tennessee. If it was CJ out there, what CJ did last time against Tennessee, 26.0 touchdowns by this defense, I will say my confidence in CJ Stroud in this game, will be more towards a 6 or a 7. I did not mean for that to be a joke. Now, against Buffalo, I would say my confidence in Davis Mills will go down to a 2 or a 3, and then with CJ, probably to a 4 or 5, maybe even lower because of how good the Buffalo Bills have been, but they also been very wishy-washy. Now, I think for this game against Tennessee, you can win this game with Davis Mills. With the way this defense has played this entire year, with the way they played against Tennessee last time they played were 0 points allowed. The Houston Texans are damn near, unbeatable the last couple of years in Tennessee. Got Mike Vrabel fired. They try to wear those uniforms against you with Case Keenum as your starting cornerback. You embarrass them. Dalton Schultz, game-saving snag. This is a game that the Houston Texans could win, but this game is very important because if you win this matchup, you're at 4-5. And the conversations after that, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, they amplify. Now you have to keep your eye on the Houston Texans. Now you have to start looking at what the other teams are doing because you're in the hunt, right? Up to this point, We're trying to get there. We're trying to knock on the door. Well, you win this game, you're going to be there. You're going to be looking at the other teams and seeing stand-ins, and now the games, how important they are, it just amplifies even more, which is going to just suck as a fan watching. With that being said, when I see comments like, I think Davis Mills can lead us to the playoffs, let's slow down. When I see comments, and shout out to my guy Ayush, that outside of, you know, you know, outside of the interceptions, quarters 1, 3, and 4 weren't bad for Davis Mills, I would disagree. The coping's really hard. There is history with Davis Mills being the starting quarterback for this Houston Texans team, and history where, and let me know if I'm wrong here, when there is pressure on Davis Mills, just something happens to him where it doesn't look good. And last week against the Denver Broncos, it didn't look good. For 3 quarters against the Jacksonville Jaguars, it didn't look good. Then the fourth quarter happened, which is why, guys, like, I understand it was such an amazing comeback, but let's not be prisoners of the moment here. For the people that say Davis Mills hasn't had a team as talented as this, defensive wise, I would agree. But there was 2 years where Davis Mills had Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins out there. The offensive line production has probably been the same, but I've seen Davis Mills have an opportunity to start football games for this Houston Texans team. And there is a reason why, after him being a starter for that year, you went into the offseason with the number 2 overall pick in the draft. And we know how that played out with CJ, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hey, you might have got your franchise quarterback. I understand it was a great comeback. But I don't know if I had the confidence if Davis Mills finished this season as your starting quarterback. I would say 1 to a 2, 0 to 1 if I'm being quite honest with you guys. Like, I can't believe I saw that comment. I think Davis Mills can lead this Houston Texans team to the playoffs going forward. Now, that's not me being here and saying that CJ hasn't been playing bad football. I've said that before. I've said that he needs to do it against a pretty good defense, and he has not been able to do that yet. But I know what the ceiling of CJ Stroud is, and that's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And that is having a stat with Joe Montana and Tom Brady. That's just crazy. There's been moments this year where CJ Stroud has looked good. There's been moments this year where CJ Stroud has looked bad. But if you're asking me, does that mean we go away from number 7? No. What are we doing? I don't think you're gonna find any like content creator or media person. And if they do say this, just let me know, and I would love to have a conversation. But I don't think anyone's, saying they'll rather have 10 out there at quarterback instead of 7. But nonetheless, this is a fun conversation to have. And the conversation is going to get even crazier if Davis Mills goes out there and wins the football game against the Tennessee Titans. Now you're at 500, and now it's like, okay, CJ Stroud, 4 days, not Tampa Bay, Buffalo Bills. How are we feeling? You're gonna have a lot of fans saying, just stick with me. It's gonna be crazy conversations. What happens if we win? But nonetheless, it's fun to be in these conversations. If the Houston Texans sneak into the playoffs this year, it will be the craziest season ever. for me. Like this one will be written down as the craziest way the Houston Texans ever got into the playoffs, right? You started off 0-3, then you win a couple in a row, then you lose, then you win, then you lose, and CJ gets knocked out. Then Davis Mills comes in, wins you one football game, loses you one football game, potentially gets you back at 500. There's going to be a lot of fun conversations to have going forward, ladies and gentlemen. But nonetheless, let me know in the comments down below your confidence in number 10, Davis Mills, your confidence in number 7, CJ Stroud. I'm going to love you guys regardless of what you say, except for you, Ayush. Guys, episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper. Get a 1,000% match up to $100. Use code 713HOU. Have a blessed day.